At other funerals, people wear white cloth strips on their heads. But I secretly tied a white t-shirt around my forehead to avoid drawing attention. I also knelt down and cried as hard as I could. I even cried louder than anyone else in the room. But the truth is, I didn't even know the deceased. The only reason I was doing this was to get a meal, because I had been starving for 3 whole days, just as I was eating to my heart's content. I couldn't help but glance behind me. I was shocked to find that the corpse in the coffin had disappeared. When I turned back to continue eating, I found the deceased sitting right in front of me. I looked at him, then at the photo on the altar. I was so scared I quickly got ready to kneel. I thought to myself, I'm just here for a meal. How could I be unlucky enough to face something like this? But Jack insisted on having me drink with him. I was too scared to run and didn't want to drink with a dead person. With no choice, I just sat there frozen. Then Jack said that everyone present was an actor he had hired. He had no children, and his wife passed away long ago. He was afraid that no one would mourn him when he died, so he arranged his own funeral in advance. But he was still very curious about why I was crying so sadly. Actually, I had been going through a tough time too. I'd been working hard with my brother in another city, but not only did we not save any money, my best friend also drank himself to death on the construction site. But I had promised Tony that if he died on the road, I would bring him home. So we disguised ourselves and brought him on the bus. During a bathroom break, the driver stopped the bus. The men went to the left side and the women to the right. It seemed like a fair enough arrangement, but I forgot that Tony was still on the bus, and his face was facing the women's side. The women got angry and rushed onto the bus, so I quickly explained, saying that Tony smelled like alcohol, and he must have been drunk and seen nothing. He looked like a drunken mess. So everyone just scolded him a little and let him go. But soon after, there was an accident at a bend. Someone had fallen in the middle of the road as if from a car crash. The driver kindly stopped to help, but to our surprise, the other side was filled with trained robbers. They quickly took control of the bus. They had detectors in hand, so we couldn't hide any valuables. Even if someone tried to call the police, they were caught immediately. We had no choice but to hand over our possessions. When it was my turn, I knew I would be robbed, so I voluntarily handed over 500 win. But then I pulled out 5,000 saying it was the dead man's money. But the robber didn't believe him, so he took out the detector and pushed Tony. The stiff body confirmed to the robber that this was a dead man. I explained that Tony had worked all his life, and this wasn't considered a work accident. Fortunately, the construction boss had generously compensated him with 5,000 yen. But Tony still had family waiting for him to support them, so I had to hand this money to his family. There was a local custom that if the dead aren't brought home, they'll become wandering ghosts in the next life. This made me even less able to leave him behind. The robber gave me a thumbs up after hearing this, then placed his hat on my lap, saying all the money was mine. He left with a look of great admiration, but I didn't expect that once the robbers left. The passengers immediately rushed to grab their belongings. What surprised me even more was that